So I'm going to show you my header file first. It's quite basic. I just made the classes, like the single class. I have a lot of get and set functions so I can access the private states, and I have no public states, only private ones. So just like have like less security risks and stuff like that. So yeah. Now I'm going to go to the source file for the class functions and whatnot. Okay, so this one, I just here's my definitions for my files, and well, not my files, but my functions I have included in the class. I use the CMath library to make getting the distance from the treasure easier, so it wouldn't be as difficult just to have do it every time, and it to have a function or a for loop to get the squares and whatnot, or the square roots and whatnot. And as you can see, here, all the set and get functions are really very simple. They're just accessing them from the class, so I can have, so the developer, aka me, can have access to them while I'm in the main file. It's pretty self-explanatory, I think. Very simple. Also, for the movement, oh my bad, for the moving function, I use the switch statement instead of a bunch of for or if statements, so it could be more it's more streamlined, and it's more simple too. And it makes sense too. It's just very streamlined, Okay, then we'll show you my final my main file. Here's my main file where most of it goes down. So I have my notes in here, but I initialize the player class variable, and all of my things too, like the player set, so I can initialize my player at the origin. I seeded the time. I seeded the positions for the treasure, so it could be random each time that it's used. This application or program is used, and this is the while loop to check if the treasure is seeded properly at or seeded not at 0, 0. That's why I use this extra variable called both t. And then this line just sets the distance of the distance state in the private part of the class, and it just sets it as it sets it from 0, 0 to the treasure position using the Pythagorean theorem, or the distance formula technically. And then this is just this variable is used for the while loop below it, so I can continue to change the player distance and whatnot. And here's the game loop right here. This is the loop that basically everything goes down in. So it'll output every time the current position, and it'll ask the user or the player to pick a direction, and you'll input one of the directions, and if it's not either north, south, east, or west in caps with the obviously the leading letter, right, it'll check for it, and then you have to input something. And then if the player moves one, then they'll go in, and then okay, so with the distance and the player moving will change the distance, obviously. So now it's gonna calculate the distance again, and then after it's calculated, it's gonna do the conditionals, and then if the player's distance becomes smaller than it was before, then it'll say the player got warmer, which makes sense because they got closer to the treasure location. And then if not, if it's greater than or equal to, it'll print out a message saying that they got colder, and then it'll set the player distance to the new distance that it just moved to, and then it'll also set the player distance that's being used in the while loop conditional, um, to the distance that's been changed to as well. And then after this loop is done, this loop finishing means that the player found the treasure, and this message, the "congratulations, you found the treasure" message, will be printed like so. Hi. So here's a demonstration of my code. I'm going to first compile all of the. Oh my bad. Hold on. I'm first going to compile all of the the files, and then I'm going to write it for you guys. So here it is. Like I'm gonna input something. I'm gonna input a wrong character on purpose to see, just to get the error message, to make sure to show you guys like that it's gonna show you like what message, what only, my bad, it's gonna show you what letters you can pick from specifically. So I'm going to pick North now, and then, oh wow, would you look at that, this time I actually found, this was a bad example because the auto generated location was 0 1, meaning that like it was too easy for you for it. I'm gonna run it one more time. Let's do east this time. Let's do north. Let's do north. I got colder. Let's do west. Let's do south. Let's do east. Let's do east again. Let's do east again. Oh look, it's good. Let's see that, as you can see, it's getting warmer, and as you go in different directions, it's like I'm like, for example, like one of the things that is kind of buggy is like if you go like in a square, like if sometimes when it'll like go east, it'll say you got colder, but then if you go west, also you'll get colder at the same time. So like it's a bit weird, but I think that it's just due to the fact that um I like that's what, actually no, that's just one of the bugs that like needs to be fixed. Like so, yeah. I'm gonna pick E again, then E again, then E again. I'm gonna pick north this time though. Okay, I'm gonna pick south again, pick east. I'm gonna pick north, pick east, pick north. Okay, so we found it, and then as you can see, like once you find it, it'll show you the show you that you found the treasure, the location. So yeah. Hi. So for what's currently not working, as I mentioned earlier, if you go up here, um, like you'll get oh, you got colder no matter what direction you pick. Sometimes like you can go west, you can go east, and then it'll also say like you got colder, but sometimes it won't do that. Like I think that's one of the issues with this. Or then maybe I guess one more thing I could fix is like putting the current position of the treasure, because like you have to add one to the direction that you just picked to like calculate it. It doesn't like show, it doesn't print into the output. So I guess that's one of the issues. And then one thing, something that I found like the thing that I found difficult about this was probably like figuring out what I should put in public and private. I ended up just putting all the behaviors in public and putting all the states in private, because like using the behaviors, like you can't really mess it up. Like it'll have parameters when you make them itself, so like you can't like put a bad value into it, because it'll like the function is gonna spit out what it spits out. Like you can't really put something bad into these ones specifically. Maybe like in a different program or a different function that uses different things, but for this one specifically, like putting whatever, no matter what you put in, you're gonna get like a good value out. Like not, you're not gonna get like a bad value at all. And then yeah, like I guess like figuring out what when to do that, like that was the hardest part. And then like realizing that I need to use getters and setters to like do this program, like to complete this, is also one of the things that like kind of opened it up for me. But like that was probably the hardest part, like realizing what I should put in public and private, and using getters and setters was what the hard part was. Because after I figured that out, everything else was pretty simple.